Welcome to Vape Radio, the voice of the vape space and your source for everything you wanted to know about the business of vaping. Whether you're a brick-and-mortar location, developer of e-liquids, or online marketer, you can learn from the first and the largest educational providers in the country with your host and founder of VapeMentors, Norm Bauer. Hey, Norm.
Hey, Paul. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Always looking forward to this show.
Well, you know what? This is show number 53. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Here it is, April, and you know what? There's always a lot to talk about in the world of vaping, and we always like introducing you to brand new people and also people that aren't brand new but have actually been around for a while. And so we want to introduce you to Nick Select. And, you know, a lot of times we make comparisons in the e-liquid space to other types of industries, and we always say the best margaritas use top-shelf tequilas. If you try to get by with cheap tequila, you're going to ruin a perfectly good margarita, and the same is true of nicotine. You can ruin a perfectly good e-liquid by using cheap nicotine that overpowers rather than enhances the overall flavor and experience. That's why it's easy for us here at Vape Radio to get behind Nick Select. You can actually taste the difference in the quality. Nick Select has a very subtle flavor with a smooth throat hit. The best pharmaceutical-grade nicotine like Nick Select also happens to be the smoothest. Put simply, you do not want to taste the nicotine. There shouldn't be any type of aftertaste when you're vaping strawberry or lemon or any other type of flavor. Nick Select delivers nicotine without a throat hit or without a spicy aftertaste. Nick Select also blends beautifully with other flavors, regardless if they're fruity or minty, sweet or sultry. That's why it's used by some of the top names in the e-liquid market, from Cutwood to Space Jam. In fact, demand has been so high that they've actually increased production of their nicotine blends, and you can now buy Nick Select blended with either 90% PG or VG in 5-gallon pails, 55-gallon drums, or the new 275-gallon totes. Check out all the e-liquid brands listed on the Nick Select website to see if your favorite e-liquid is listed. If it's not there, you might want to ask where the nicotine is coming from, because the best e-liquid makers select only the best, and that's Nick Select. Just go to nickselect.com. And I'm going to tell you guys out there that we actually have a theme today. Today's theme is all about e-liquids, because this is something that is becoming more and more prevalent. It's more and more topical, and it also just so happens that the new course that we're going to be putting out in another couple of weeks called Vape You 2, which is all about the e-liquid market. If you're interested in starting your own e-liquids or growing the business you already have, starting May 5, the next Vape You 6 Pillars to Mastering the E-Liquid Market will be launching. Learn from 8 of the top thought leaders that deal specifically in this very profitable, though competitive market. The window to dominate the e-liquid space is not going to last forever, since the FDA decision is coming, plus competition is fierce. If you want more information on Vape You, just go to VapeMentors.com/vape-u. All right, enough of that. Let's go ahead and dig in. As I said, this is going to be a little bit of a thematic show in the fact that we're going to be talking a lot about e-liquids. We actually have 2 amazing interviews that are going to be coming on, which I'm going to tell you about in just a second. But I guess I have a question for you. Do you have your own line of e-liquids, or do you want to have one? So you're going to be hearing from 2 of the top experts in the industry. One of them is Tom Schreier. He's the Vice President of Business Development and Sales at Alchem Incorporated. They are, in fact, the manufacturers of one of our new sponsors, which is Nick Select. And we're also going to hear from Daniel Walsh with Pure Tobacco. You might not know their names, but I'll tell you, you are seeing evidence of their work every single day, because Daniel is called the high priest of vaping, and when you hear the interview, you're going to understand why. You know, we talk about the quality of nicotine, and, you know, that is not to be dismissed, and Tom and I are going to be spending a lot of time on that, along with Daniel, who's going to be talking about the artist collection. Now, we spent some time on the artist collection before. This is the one that's put out by Enjoy, and I didn't even know this when I first contacted Daniel, but he is one of the 5 artists. If you remember back in January, we had another one here. His name is Randy from Poet, P-O-E-T. And we also had his guest, Josh, from Craft Vapory. So we are now going to have the second of the 5 artists from the artist collection. And if 2's good, 3's even better. In the next month or so, we're going to have George from Mr. Good Vapes. And so we're going to have basically 3 of the top 5 artists in the country that are sharing their information. So the point is, guys, is that if you are already in the e-liquid market, or if you want to get into the e-liquid market, that's what today's show is going to be all about. And we're going to be spending some time on that in the next couple of weeks. I want to give you a little bit of an update about some things that are happening overseas. If you listen to the last show, I talked about what I call the European crisis. And, you know, is that an overstatement? I don't know. The reality of it is that the taxation issues going on in Italy are going to double the price of a 10 milliliter bottle. And I got some information from Tim Phillips. He is with eSig Intelligence, one of the very, very most renowned people in this in the metrics of the e-space industry. And in Spain, there is no tax yet. The government is reviewing the idea. They temporarily decided against it, but regardless, there is a huge drop of stores in Spain and in Italy. And there's a couple of reasons. One is good old media. Just as we always complain, or I always complain about the media over here loving to jump on a bad story, they have the same challenges over there in Europe, in the fact that media loves to have, to pile on the whole vaping concept. Also, some of the early entrants into the vape space were getting crappy stuff from China, and the consumers were turned off. So that kind of set a bad trend. Also, in Italy and several other what I would call fashionable countries, the growth was larger than the market could sustain. And so what ended up happening is you went from zero to, as of until recently, about 3,000 different shops in Italy, and that has gone down by about 90%. So the reality of it is that even though we're here in the United States listening to this, according to my statistics, about 76% of you are in the United States, we also have a huge overseas market. So, pay attention to what's happening over there because, it's always good to be informed. I want to give you all an update on NATO. That's NATO. That's the National Association for Tobacco Outlets. Again, if you listened to the last show, we had Greg Martin, who is the manager of the NATO show, on. And I'm going to be out there, and also I'm going to be at Vape Summit. Now, Vape Summit is more of a fest. NATO is more of a trade show. But the NATO show, if you are hearing this in time, I suggest you get your butt out there because this is going to be one of the most eagerly anticipated crowds of speakers that you're ever going to have anywhere. And so if you are in the vape space in whatever form, this event is for you. It's not for the public at large, so I encourage you to go take a look at natoshow.com. Vape Summit, on the other hand, that is a fest. That is a party, but it's a worthy one to attend. And what I'm finding here as the national event coordinator for Vape Magazine is that there are certain shows that are kind of rising to the top and becoming significant and important. And the guys at Vape Summit are two of the guys that are doing that. ECC is another. A couple of people from TPC, they're doing a really awesome job as well. So don't get dismayed if you go to an event and you feel it's not really what you're looking for, because the reality of it is that the people who are doing it right are spreading really, really good content out there and bringing in really amazing speakers and a lot of amazing exhibitors as well. I want to tell you more about the Vape You program that's going to be coming out on May 5, and it's all about mastering the e-liquid market. And here's a rundown of what the 6-week program consists of. Week number 1 is all about business plans, models, and strategies. Then we have e-liquid product development. We have legal challenges in the e-liquid market, branding and competitive positioning, customer acquisition, retention, and service, and last but certainly not least, social media and PR. I've noticed an increasing number of people contacting us who are in the e-liquid market who are not crushing it. And guys, that is understandable. We have a very crowded space. We probably have almost as many e-liquid manufacturers out there right now as we have brick-and-mortar stores. And so we're looking at somewhere north of 5,000, could be as much as 7,000 or 8,000. So I want you to pay attention. Just go to VapeMentors.com/VapeU, and you'll be able to get some information on what our curriculum is all about. I have mentioned a woman by the name of Bonnie Herzog several times before. Bonnie is with Wells Fargo Securities. She is truly a very highly respected financial analyst, and so she reports on the business within what we call the VTM market, the vapors, tanks, and mods market. But she also reports on alcohol and tobacco and a lot of products that you're going to find in the C stores or the convenience stores. So she puts out these monthly or weekly newsletters depending upon what's going on, and she mentioned the new CDC campaign is called Tips from Former Smokers, which just started in March, which is really, really a bad sign. What's happening here is the CDC is anti-vaping, and they're using some bad information. They are definitely putting a spin on it, reminiscent of the way a lot of tobacco companies used to put spins on to their advantage many, many years ago. And according to the CDC 2014 study, it says that 75% of e-cigarette users continue to smoke combustible cigs. They're what they call a dual-use smoker. If you are a dual-use smoker, that's not necessarily bad, but unfortunately the CDC is jumping on this, and they are basically saying that if you develop health problems from your good old combustible cigarettes, they are also attributing it to e-cigarettes. So the bottom line is that the e-cigarette space is very much under target. It has a big bullseye on its back. And I encourage you all to get involved with any of the advocacy organizations like CASA or SAFADA. Now, there is one periodical that is actually a very, very good supporter of what we're doing, and that's Forbes Magazine. I get daily blasts of anything that comes out up on Google Alert with vaping or e-cigarettes or something along those lines. And there are several reporters over at Forbes that are actually very supportive of the e-cigarette industry. So they're a very highly respected magazine, and we hope that hopefully other magazines and other medias will be able to follow their lead. Getting back to some of the things that Bonnie has mentioned is the e-cigarette market is still down. There has been something like 13 or 14 quarters of lower than previous e-cigarette sales, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but the story is that e-cigarettes just do not have the stickiness of the vaping industry because flavor has always been a problem. So the reality of it is, I'm not sure what your particular motive is or your particular direction for why you're listening to Vape Radio. We are the voice of the vape space, and we would love to know who you are. Are you in the business? Are you a B2B type of industry, or are you a consumer? Are you a casual vapor? We really don't know. So we would love to know a little bit more about what it is you're doing here and how it is that we can help support you, because the industry is not going away. We have this monthly feature called Vape Shop of the Month, and I'm very pleased to announce that our next Vape Shop of the Month is called Waldo Vapes. That's in Waldo, Missouri. The gentleman's name is John Brower, and he's doing a fantastic job. He launched his business back in June, and he is consistently hitting some very, very solid numbers. I'm not going to reveal on the air what those numbers are, but I'll tell you right now, my benchmark of what constitutes a winning vape shop is when you're doing $1,000 a day in gross sales. So if a vape shop is doing $30,000 plus per month, then they are well on their way towards success. And if you're doing it right, then you should be able to hit those numbers. There's a couple of articles coming out in Vape Magazine on a couple of profiled stories, including Waldo Vapes, and also another one called Vapor's Vault in Hobart, Indiana, which is a client of mine from several months ago that I got an update from them, and I'm going to be putting an article together for one of the magazine on Vapor's Vault. So the reality is, guys, that there's a lot of really, really good stuff out there, but you cannot do it by accident. You cannot do it with any type of haphazard type of strategy. You have to really be behind it. So as we come to the end of Section 1, I also want to share with you another sponsor that I mentioned last month, and it's called Daily Displays. We say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and vaping is, of course, visually stimulating. Some of the top e-liquid brands stand out with attractive names, descriptions, and pictures, but that does no good if no one can see them in your shop. We like unique sponsors. That's why we like Daily Displays, because they create visually stunning display cases for e-liquids and other products. They're U.S. made, not shipped overseas, 50% thicker than imports, and available in 48 hours for standard inventory or just 2 weeks for custom work. So put your best products in front of your customers and catch their attention with clear, sleek acrylic, or choose your own bold, fun, or fluorescent color to make your products really stand out. Dailies has stand-ups and wall displays for all your vaping products, so visit Daily, that's D-A-L-E-Y, dailydisplays.com. Enter promo code VAPE Radio, and you're going to get a free try-it center, which holds tanks for sampling, tips, and sign holders. You're also going to get free shipping on orders over $250, or add promo code Radio for an additional 10% off. You can contact us here at Vape Radio, and we'll introduce you to their team of pros. Just go ahead and visit VapeMentors.com/VapeMentors. Anyway, so you are listening to Vape Radio, the voice of the vape space, the #1 worldwide source for information about the business of vaping, streamed direct to your phone or tablets. To be part of our growing Vape Mentors community, head on over to VapeMentors.com to learn more, catch up on our past shows, and learn how to grow or start your vape space business. How about some nice outro music, Paul? A little bit of reggae there. There we go. Don't go away. Be sure to join us for our very next show. We'll be right back.
You've been listening to Vape Radio, the voice of the vape space, and #1 worldwide source for information about the business of vaping, streamed directly to your phone and tablets. To be part of our growing Vape Mentors community, head over to VapeMentors.com to learn more, catch up on our past shows, and learn how to grow or start your vape-based business today.
Since the day